Hi there, this is Mark here with a video response to the Legacy Gamer Retro Gaming Here and Now tag. Very excellent question, and here is another talking head. I guess I started out with, I always was a current gen gamer because I never stopped gaming. But I continued to play my Commodore 64 and went into PC gaming, current gen PC gaming, with the early 486s with Commander Keen and um, uh, a lot of others, the first person shooters, Civilization 1, and as things, I got a PlayStation when it was still current back in the day, and actually moved over to current consoles, and I think meeting up with an old friend from school, Mr. Custard, who basically had a similar experience to mine, with his ZX Spectrum and my Commodore 64 back in the day, and programming for it, hacking for it. We actually looked back. I noticed that I was still playing the Commodore 64, and so was he playing his ZX Spectrum, and I got some new MSX2 systems back when I was in college. They were already dead. It was in '89, but there were still a lot of users out there, especially in the Brabant area in the Netherlands, and when I went onto YouTube, I think I was pretty big into console gaming, retro console gaming. I was playing the current gen consoles, the PlayStation, the Xbox, the PlayStation 2, the Dreamcast, and actually with the Dreamcast, I think that made me realize that there were a lot of great older systems out there that needed to be explored, which I didn't have any exposure to before. The Saturn was out there with the PlayStation, but never really got my attention because it was just like, in the periphery. It was just not on my radar, and so yeah, my attention shifts all the time, because then I got into disc-based retro consoles. Then I moved into cartridge games, the NES, the SNES. I did have those systems a little after their prime, actually. I got mine early 90s, late 80s. So they were after their prime. They were still being sold sometimes, really cheap, and yeah, you could get very cheap secondhand games for them. So that basically was yeah, fixing my poor student gaming habit, I guess, and yeah, now I'm actually looking back into. I got a Vectrex, also probably egged on by Mr. Custard. I remember watching a Vectrex scramble back in the day, but never had the money or the funds to actually go get one. And well, it sits over there. It's my working Vectrex. And I must, well, like Pocketmego said, I consider myself a Twitch gamer. I like my arcadey type games, like Marlon Lee's playing, like Pocketmego is playing. Steve Benway also is is playing a lot of Twitch games, I guess. Atuto 72 on the Spectrum, but I also like fantasy games or role-playing games or games that have you know, a lengthier gameplay and a good story. And I remember playing the original Zork. I remember playing the Pawn, the Guild of Thieves on the original Commodore 64, and yeah, and basically my attention just shifts. You know, currently I'm like, I've bought like a couple of PlayStation 2s with a selection of discs. Been playing Oni and Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, and I have my Amiga 1200 set up over there. I'm playing my Commodore 64, so I'm actually slightly moving into home computer gaming right now. And of course I'm having an awful Minecraft fix together with a couple of British dudes and Mr. Custard. So yeah, basically it just shifts around, and I just move back and forth. And of course, yeah, the Nintendo 64. I mean, yeah, the Nintendo 64. I'm playing that as well, and I've got one of these EverDrive systems for it, which allows me to select games and test them out and see if they're any fun, and then I'll go out and grab me a copy of one of these games. But yeah, and of course the Dreamcast. I mean, the Dreamcast was a classic the moment it died, and it died, I think, 6 to 8 months after its release in the Netherlands. That means, at least that's my recollection of it, and that really made me aware of the how do you say that, of the temporal shift. Oh, there's a flux in the dilithium crystals. We're getting out of phase. No, how do you say that? That it is like, well, you know, things crumble. No, I'm not a native speaker, so I'm lost for words here. But things come and go, and the very nature of things coming and going, and also being able to enjoy the things that have left us, is very nice. And I'm also looking forward. I mean, I have my PlayStation 3, and I have my Xbox 360, and actually I'm getting into this game, Uncharted. You know, I was talking to Snestastic was talking to me, and you know, and I've been playing through this, Enslaved, and you know, I'm getting fed up with the control scheme. But I'm also playing other games, and Ratchet and Clank. I'm really having a Ratchet and Clank fix. I'm playing the original and on the PlayStation 2, and moving on to the PlayStation 3 versions. It just goes back and forth. When I have time, when I have a weekend or a vacation, I tend to play longer games. But during the day, during the week, you know, I don't have time to remember all the moves, or you know, remember the moves, remember where I was at a specific point in the story, or yeah, I'm not gonna play through Zelda during the week. You know, I'm just too busy for that. I have too many shifts, and but I could have a go at the TurboGrafx and play some blazing lasers, or you know, have a go at Miss Pac-Man on the Commodore 64, or play Pac-Mania on the Amiga 1200. Boot up Vector Man 2 on the Mega Drive or the Genesis. You know, Hydro Thunder. You know, I could play that on the Xbox 360, the live edition. I can play it on the Nintendo 64, the original PlayStation. You know, whatever. It goes back and forth. Well, that's just me, another talking head. Mark signing off, and I'll be back with another video soon.